March 8th, 2023. Notice of this meeting has been duly advertised in compliance with the provision of the Open Public Meeting Law. Please be advised that this meeting is being audio recorded for possible later playback. Everyone, please rise for the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hess. Here. Councilman Linkowski.
Here.
Councilman Marcy.
Here.
Councilwoman Patton.
Here.
Councilwoman Sinnott. Here. Council President Randolph Sharp.
Here.
Mayor Roach.
Here. Resolution, approval of minutes for executive session and council meeting for February 8th, 2023. Entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
And a second, please.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hess.
Yes.
Councilman Linkowski.
Yes.
Councilman Marcy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sinnott.
Yes.
President Randolph Sharp.
Yes.
Entertain a motion for payment of bills, please.
I make a motion that bills have been properly audited and signed, be approved for payment.
And a second, please.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hess.
Yes.
Councilman Linkowski.
Yes.
Councilman Marcy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sinnott. Yes. President Randolph Sharp.
Yes.
Following reports have been filed and are available in their respective offices for review and will be included in the minutes. The tax collector's report, the sewer report, and the treasurer's report. Second reading, ordinance 2023-01, amending chapter 75 of Animal and Charter 150 fee schedule for dangerous dogs. At this time, I'd like to open the meeting to the public for any questions or comments regarding ordinance 2023-01.
Mayor, I'd like to, Diane Terry, 637 Path. What are you saying is a dangerous, like, when you say dangerous dog, what do you mean?
It's
Any dog can be dangerous.
What it does is it refers back to the statute. All that stuff is statutory. We have very little control with respect to dangerous animals, and basically all this ordinance does is says that we're going to follow the statutory guidelines. It's in the statute.
But you're not saying what dogs are dangerous. That's what I'm saying. Like, when you're saying a dangerous dog, like, any dog can be dangerous.
True.
See this? I'm proof. I got bit by a dog last July, so any dog could be, and it wasn't a dangerous dog. I had surgery, I lost motion of my hand, it's deformed, so I'm trying to see what you mean by a dangerous dog.
It's defined in the statute, and I believe it's an animal that is not provoked, and this is just me paraphrasing, that attacks, bites a human being.
So once they bite, then they're considered dangerous, but
If
prior
somebody
to
wants
that,
to make an
they're...
issue of it, they could. If you wanted to do something about the dog that bit you, and I'm assuming it was yours,
No, it was not my dog.
you could.
No, my dog not
Like
bite.
that, every right to bring a complaint against the owner of the
And
dog.
I wouldn't do that, and I didn't sue either. I put $12,000 out of pocket.
But that's.
But that's what I'm trying to see what you're saying about a dangerous dog. My dogs are not played. My dogs are raised like children.
Thank you.
My
Entertain a
dogs.
motion, please.
The fuck? My dogs.
So moved.
And a second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Hess.
Yes.
Councilman Linkowski.
Yes.
Councilman Marcy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sinnott.
Yes.
President Randolph Sharp.
Yes.
Second reading, ordinance 2023-02, amend chapter 250, article 2, rental inspections, and chapter 150, fees at 42 fees. And at this time, I'll open the meeting to the public for anyone with questions or comments regarding ordinance 2023-02. Seeing none, close the meeting to the public and entertain a motion, please. 02.
2023-02, I make a motion that the ordinance be adopted on second reading and published according to law. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hess. Yes. Councilman Linkowski.
Yes.
Councilman Marcy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sinnott. Yes. President Randolph Sharp.
Yes.
Second reading, ordinance 2023-03, amend chapter 150 fee schedule. At this time, I'd like to open the meeting to the public Any questions or comments regarding 2023-03?
Hi, Sarah Bellner, 1201 Timber Creek Road. Is this the fee schedule for records? I'm just asking because the detail's not on here, and I want to make sure I'm asking about the right ordinance.
It's for notary fees, certified copies of marriage, death, birth, and domestic partnerships, police department copies of police reports, motor vehicle reports, copies of police reports, pickup for over fee schedule, permit to purchase handguns, firearms purchasers, identification card, firearm permit carry permits, let's see, alcoholic beverages licenses and fees, preliminary retail consumption license, preliminary retail distribution license, seasonal retail consumption license, and the rental inspection ordinance where there is a failure to provide access to particular units.
Okay, so I'm going to take that as a yes. And my next question is, in terms of police records and certain public records, like what if I am a party involved in an incident of police record and I want to obtain a copy of those records, am I going to have to pay?
I don't know if there's exemptions or that. I'm not sure how the police department handles that.
Because if we're going strictly by how the ordinance reads, the answer is yes. And that might be something to take into consideration. So we want those rules to be clear. So I think it's our public right to have access to those records. Yeah, and if you're a party in a police incident, we shouldn't be charging the citizens to get records of their own victimization.
I have a feeling, just on with council.
I think it's obligation to give you a copy of the report.
I think it is too. I can't swear to that. That's the only thing I have to take a look at the police departments from doing.
Would that be something that might be important to clarify before we pass an ordinance?
It's up to council.
Okay, thank you.
So entertain a motion. Anyone else, I'm sorry, anyone else? Close the meeting to the public and entertain a motion.
Make a motion on 2023-03 be adopted as read on second reading and published according to law.
And I have a second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Hess,
Yes.
Councilman Lankowski.
Yes.
Councilman Morrissey.
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sinnen,
Yes.
President Randolph Sharp.
Yes.
Second reading, ordinance 2023-04, amend chapter 34, public officials. Open meeting to the public for any questions or comments regarding 2023-04.
Yeah, good evening, guys.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Trevor Shaw, 805 North Cross Avenue. There have been two topics that we've been contacted about more than this one. Can you explain to us what is the specific purpose of this ordinance and why in almost 100 years of existence has the governing body never needed such an indemnity ordinance before?
Well, this primarily comes into play if there's what I would consider to be frivolous pleadings. Let me give you an example. If we have one of our public works drivers who slides on some ice, and rear-ends a vehicle in front of him, that's an act of negligence, that's covered by insurance. However, you get some attorneys that will institute a lawsuit and claim exemplary damages, where they'll claim that the conduct was willful, wanton, malicious, or reckless. The insurance carrier would not indemnify for that necessarily. So what happens is they'll either A, defend it on a reservation where they'll obtain factual basis as to what's going on, and then make a decision at the end of the litigation as to whether or not they're going to, they'll never indemnify for that claim, but as to whether or not they won't even so much as file a motion for summary judgment on it to get rid of it, even though it's meritless and baseless. The attorneys file that in order to try to get an advantage because they name the individual driver sometimes, even though under a theory of responding superior, it's going to go back up as an agent to the borough anyway. But it makes the employee have anxiety. And then the other thing is, okay, if that happens to one of these public works drivers and they're involved in an accident, which is an act of negligence, however, there's a claim of an intentional tort, reckless, willful, wanton, they're going to have to go out and get their own attorney to defend that because the GF lawyer, our insurance fund lawyer, won't cover that claim, which could be extremely costly. Now, what the employee did was negligence, yes. It will probably almost, as you said, 99 or 100 years, 99 out of 100 times, it's going to get covered by the insurance. But, in the event, is it fair to the employee to make them go out and spend $20,000, $30,000 plus on an attorney just to get to the same result?
Thank you, and we appreciate your response and explanation.
Hi, Sarah Donald, 1201 Creek Road. I'm going to again challenge the language, the legal language in the ordinance. The scenario that you described is both on your own admittance, extremely rare. And even in your example, it was limited to public works drivers. But this ordinance does not, and correct me if I'm wrong, does not specify exemplary charges. And it also is not limited to individuals who routinely interact with the public. It covers everyone, and it's quite a wide description. So when we have had a history of borough officials personally harassing residents, and we're indemnifying them of being held accountable for that, that's what a lot of us are seeing in this, because it doesn't say exemplary charges, it doesn't say, public works, it doesn't say people who are at risk for this very rare risk, as you've admitted. So it seems to me that we're pushing this through based on almost a false premise. Like the business case doesn't make sense. And I know it'll get approved anyway, but I just want to call out that this language is clear, and it's clear what is being accomplished with this ordinance, despite the example we provided.
Well, the example was only designed to try to give you an idea as to what's going on, but yes, it does include all borough officials and employees. However, if you look at section 34-7 exclusions, subsection F, it limits and restricts this provisions of this ordinance and the indemnity provisions for any judgment for punitive or exemplary damages, unless the governing body first determines the official's employees did not constitute actual fraud, malice, gross misconduct, or intentional fraud. So there are limitations and restrictions that have been placed in there. I think it's clear that the conduct that you're talking about, if there was some sort of harassment or intentional fraud, is not part of or a provision of this particular indemnity provision. And I think that Mr. Shaw actually has a good point, that this is going to be used in the exception, not the rule, because most of the times, when there is even pleas with this, we turn it over to our insurance and the state take care of it.
Anyone else? Close the meeting to the public and entertain a motion.
Make a motion on 2023-04 be adopted as read on second reading.
And a second, please.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hess?
Yes.
Councilman Lankowski?
Yes.
Councilman Morrissey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Simmons?
Yes.
President Randolph Sharp?
Yes.
The consent agenda, the items listed below are considered routine by the Borough of Lindenwold will be enacted upon by one motion. There will be no formal discussions of these items. If discussion is desired, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Entertain a motion for resolution 2023-86 to 2023-92.
Make a motion for resolution consent agenda items 2023-86 through 2023-92.
And a second, please.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hess?
Yes.
Councilman Lankowski?
Yes.
Councilman Morrissey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Simmons?
Yes.
President Randolph Sharp?
Yes.
There's two additional resolutions, 2023-93. Councilman.
It's a resolution authorizing the hire of 2 full-time public works employees, namely Jeffrey Park and Mark Lassie.
Okay, and entertain a motion, please.
Make a motion for resolution items 2023-93 for hiring 2 public works employees.
And a second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Hess?
Yes.
Councilman Lankowski?
Yes.
Councilman Morrissey?
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Simmons?
Yes.
President Randolph Sharp?
Yes.
And the additional 2023-94. Councilman.
Resolution authorizing Borough to enter into a shared service agreement with Clementon Borough for the reconstruction of Wallace Avenue.
Entertain a motion, please.
Make a motion for 2023-94 Clementon Shared Service for Wallace Avenue.
Second, please.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Hess,
Yes.
Councilman Lankowski,
Yes.
Councilman Morrissey,
Yes.
Councilwoman Patton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Simmons,
Yes.
President Randolph Sharp.
Yes.
Next, engineers report. You're up, sir. How are you this evening?
Municipal parking lot expansion, looks like we'll be willing to put that up a bit soon. Brief report tonight, projects in construction, the repaving of Lindenwold Phase 2, the core testing has been completed, so we're just working on the closeout documentation. Same for Cooper Avenue, working on closeout. Looks like that was just a little bit of change order, so we should be able to wrap it up.
You did a very nice job. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions, any engineer? Okay, thank you. All right, over to council. Councilman Massey. Martin, I'm sorry.
Like to sing?
I apologize.
Right.
Let me just go on the record.
Okay, the fire department report, the fire district election was held on February 18th. 2 commissioners were re-elected, Tammy Luca and Wayne Hans, and their budget was approved. They just held their reorganization meeting last night. These commissioners were sworn in for the new term. Officers were elected and assignments given out. In February, there were 72 calls, which included 20 mutual aid calls for the surrounding towns. Fire marshal completed 29 inspections, 16 re-inspections. The fire department is retiring their Cascade truck in order to reduce the fleet. They've also applied for grants to fund the purchase of defibrillators to equip trucks with. Thank you.
Lindenwold Public Works, we had 624.97 tons of trash collected, 65.83 tons of recycling, 187 bulk items, 43 scrap metal, 1 concrete, no stumps, no injuries, service calls 69, stoppages 17, main stoppages none, emergency calls 13, markouts 45, pump station repairs 7, no trouble areas jetted, no pump station vectored. For Laurel Springs, we had 3 service calls, 3 stoppages, no emergency calls, and no markouts. For our police department, we had 1,772 calls. I forgot to print it out and read it off my phone. Sorry. Total call service 1,772. 40 traffic accidents. Community policing 115. Traffic enforcement stops 113. Criminal complaints by officers issued by officers 24. Traffic summons issued by officers 37. Criminal complaints issued by citizens 31. Traffic summons issued by citizens 0. Bureau investigations 51. Submitted by Chief McCarthy. Also, I wanted to give an update on the parking on Jefferson and Wilson. They've been out there several times monitoring the traffic. There are some minor parking issues that they are addressing. Our Public Works painted the curbs yellow to designate the areas where parking is prohibited, which is near the stop sign and the intersection. He also spoke with the superintendent to put a message out to parents to use the parking lot and not park on the street, and they will continue to monitor the situation. We had a special Captain Stowski. He went to a very intense leadership program developed by West Point Military Academy. Not only did Captain Stowski earn his certificate, but he was also awarded the academic award for achieving the highest score in the class. The captain and Cavallaro, Deputy Chief Cavallaro can attest that this is a very difficult course, and the fact that the captain earned an academic award is very impressive. So congratulations to Captain Stowski for that. And that is all that I have, sir.
Thank you. Council President.
All right, we'll start out with the Code Enforcement Office for the month of February 2023. There were 91 CO inspections, 13 smoke inspections, 168 violations found, 131 violations written, 92 abatements, 3 tickets written, 2 tickets for court, one was an in-person court, plus 2 court trials, 7 tickets for court written on 2/15, no trials in that resulting in those tickets. 0 pleas by mail, collected $200 plus a $66 court cost, 306 yearly rental registrations, 28 yearly rental re-inspections, 3 vehicles tagged and removed by others, 0 illegal clothing bins tagged and removed, 0 trailers tagged, 1 site to be found working without permits, 0 businesses found open without applying to mercantile, 0 businesses open for approval, 1 dumpster on the street with no approvals, 15 street opening inspections, sidewalk curbs and aprons, 62 resident communications. I also had a meeting planned last Monday for the media team. However, another meeting overlapped with it and we had to cancel that meeting, so we will be getting together sometime this month to discuss some upcoming communications out of the media team. Dawn will give her own update after I get finished reading. Okay. So as you can see, Women's History Month is the month of March, and today is International Women's Day. Women's History Month was first observed nationally in 1980 by President Jimmy Carter. He issued the first proclamation that initially was 1 week. In 1987, the Women's History Project successfully petitioned Congress to expand the event to 1 month. Women's History Month celebrates the often overlooked accomplishments of women in history, society, and culture. I would like to look at a group of ordinary women at a point in U.S. history that did extraordinary things. The women of World War I and World War II. World War I, from 1914 to 1918, large groups of women were recruited to fill vacated jobs left by men who joined the war. New jobs were created in ammunition factories, which was the single largest employer of women in 1918. Women workers produced 80% of the ammunition that was manufactured for the war effort. Women also worked as railroad conductors, bank tellers, clerks, postal workers, police, and firefighters during this period of time. In World War II, 1939 and 1949, in 1940, approximately 23% of women worked outside of the home in traditional female jobs for the time, such as typing, sewing, and domestic work. Women were expected to quit these jobs as soon as they were married, and definitely if they had children. World War II changed the type of work and the volume of women that entered into the workforce. An estimated 5 to 6 million women entered the workforce between 1940 and 1945. The motto was, "Free a man up to fight." Additionally, 350,000 women joined the armed forces during this period. Many civilian women worked in defense plants as office workers, truck drivers, translators, welders, factory jobs, and other sorts of jobs. This time period opened the door for women to hold jobs that they were not considered for otherwise. Working women, especially mothers, faced challenges during this time period. Eleanor Roosevelt urged her husband, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, to approve the first child care facility under the Community Facilities Act of 1942. Eventually, 7 centers opened, servicing 150,000 children, leading the way to private child care facilities. There was cultural resistance concerning women in the workplace as well, that women would lose their femininity. The government created a so-called propaganda campaign centered around Rosie the River Runner. If you look, she's right there. Everybody's seen her before. With the headline, "We Can Do It." Rosie was tough, but yet feminine. A song was even penned after her. Rosie is still a cultural icon to this day. African American and Japanese women fought for their right to enter the job market during this time period. Many faced discrimination. Women overall endured low pay, harassment, and terrible work conditions. Women were laid off in large groups at the end of World War II. The census stated that 75% of the women wanted to keep their jobs, but they were laid off in large groups in World War II when the men returned. However, women's participation in the job market bounced back quickly in 1950, with 32% of the women working outside of the home. Women were now considered skilled workers. The National World War II Museum in New Orleans recognizes the great accomplishments and contributions women played in the success of the Allied victory of World War II. The women of World War I and World War II played a large part in keeping America going. My salute tonight is to the women of World War I and World War II, ordinary women that made an extraordinary difference in our history. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Our boys basketball team made it to the second round of the playoffs. They probably would have gotten knocked out first because they had to play Camden High or Eastside High, which used to be Woodrow Wilson. And it was funny because the kids at our school would have rather played that game and lost than played against kids who are actually going to be in the NBA. So it was a little disappointment there, you know how you feel. I played against so-and-so, you know. And also the school approved the certification accepting $73,833 from the NJ School Development Authority to be used for capital maintenance project. This will be used in the high school for the domestic hot water equipment replacement project. The school board also made a motion to accept the report of increased revenue from the original budget in the amount of $350,816 due to the transportation, and they also got transportation aid, and $240,919 because of the maintenance reserve withdrawals, which the board approved back on September 12, 2022, for a total of $591,735.90 of increased revenue, which is good. They're increasing the revenue. Okay, Monday the 13th is the MP2 Honor Roll breakfast. Tuesday and Wednesday, the 14th and the 15th, is the NJGPA testing. Don't forget the school, the spring school play is the Wedding Singer, and it's going to be held March 30th, 31st, and April 2nd, which is Thursday, Friday, and there's 2 shows on Saturday. Also, there was one other thing. The superintendent started a program that's called Alliance Minutes. It's a educational program that goes on YouTube and asks questions to the students. And one of the questions asked was, do you think your intellect is fixed? And it was a disappointment. A surprisingly amount of children, half of the students, said they thought their intellect was fixed. Well, the fact is, nobody's intellect is fixed. It is absolutely untrue. And it's this correlation that children think their intellect is fixed that prevents them from learning. So now the school has this information, they're going to act upon that. Also, with Park and Recs, the county has a new regulation for vendors selling food, and we're looking into that because it's a fee of $50, and we don't know, we have to get the information whether it's a one-time license thing or each time a vendor comes in, but what it's going to do is it's going to slow up the process of all our applications. The park was somebody you have to have that certification. So we'll just bear with us. We're going to find out what language has it. It was very general and it wasn't very, we just don't know. So we have to go find out. Okay, that's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Patrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Public events, our first public event, Spring Fling, is Saturday, April 1st at 3:30. And as far as our library is concerned, March library report, or February library report, books, DVD, 103, computer usage, 110 members, patrons, 2,462, library materials, 13,992, new members, adults 11, children 3. What's going on at the library? Easter craft in person, April 6th. Library spring cleanup will be on April 15th. Book sale will be April 18th. Mother's Day craft, May 11th. Father's Day craft, June 15th. And also, I did receive some information about our situation with the library assistant. We have received a couple of applications for the part-time library clerk position, and it is the hope of the borough to fill the position as soon as the bilingual part-time clerk is, as soon as our bilingual part-time clerk is currently under physician's care. In the meantime, I did receive some flyers from Councilwoman Simon regarding the Camden County Library System. They invite you to experience the many diverse free services and resources available at their 8 convenient locations. In the meantime, I know our issue was the late in the weekend hours, but in addition, you can also find tax and financial advice, register for library cards, digital services, senior information, event information, museum information, reading and film discussion club. So in addition to our local library, we also have a ton of resources available to us countywide. Thank you.
Councilwoman Patton, what time is the cleanup on the 15th?
I don't believe I have a date for that.
Oh, you said.
So I don't have a time for that. It's April 15th, but I'll get that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Simmons.
Mr. Mayor, for senior services, Camden County Senior Services is holding an Alzheimer's Community Forum on March 22nd at the Lakeland Complex from 9:30 to 11:30. They're going to discuss the overview of dementia, Alzheimer's, memory loss, and there's going to be representatives from several different nonprofits also. I do have flyers if anybody would like one on that information, and they would like you to register, and that is on the flyer. The county is trying to set up more events for senior services, so as I hear them, I'll report them. For the health report, as a reminder, March 31st, you have to register cats and dogs with the borough. It's $15 if your pet is neutered, $20 if they're not neutered, and to bring a copy of your pet's rabies certificate valid through October 31st. Camden County is also offering free radon test kits. The radon test is for the odorless, invisible, radioactive gas that is released through rock, soil, and water. This can happen with a new house or an older home. That could be a positive for radon. To clear out radon, they also say you should leave your windows open and your fans running, just get the air moving. You can call Casey Baker or email Casey Baker to pick up your kit. You have to make an appointment to pick up the kit, and I have flyers on that also, if anybody would like one. And then our COVID update, Camden County, according to CDC, was still ranked in the medium level. The FDA has announced that our home testing kits, don't throw them out. They are extending the expiration time of when their shelf life is, and they're getting anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half extension. So you go to their website, the FDA, then you have to put in your lot number and everything. It'll tell you the new date of your test kit on when it would expire. So you don't want anyone to throw their kits away, just check to see if they're still good. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilwoman Simmons, is it possible to find out if they have any more test kits that they can give out to the communities? Like, I was like, just good hand out here.
All right, I'll see what I got.
Just give me the radon file.
All right, Councilwoman Preston.
I also forgot about the dog park. Our dog park is up and running, fencing's all up. I think it turned out very well. There's new parking lot done. There's some signage we still have to get up. I know, you're looking at me, I know. Signage, yeah, but it's there. Yeah. And Camden County has a program going on for senior dresses for proms.
Yeah, but I think today was the pickup date at the
Oh, was
sheriff's
it?
department.
Sheriff's
Yeah,
department.
public wishing to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Remember, we will not reply to you until after we're back open to council.
Diane Terry, 637 Fifth Avenue. Linda, this is for you because last week when we talked about the dog park, and I asked you how you were going to enforce if the dogs have a license, you responded with, how can you do that when you can't even enforce the town? So if you're not going to enforce the town, why do I have to register my dogs? Like, if you're going to enforce it, you're going to enforce it for everybody. My dogs don't come out. So I'm not registered, I'm letting you know I'm not registering my dogs. Because if you're not going to enforce it for everybody, you're not going to enforce it for me. And Dave Capozzi, I would like an apology when you assume that my own dog bit me. Because when you assume, that makes you an ass.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Okay, I can make it up here. Real quick. So I guess y'all know who I am, Jamie Porter. I'm calling around because I want to know what they're doing about those mice in town. Those mice are terrible. I'm living with them 24/7. Okay? I had to hire someone to come in, clean my apartment. I got 52 mice out of my apartment within 2 weeks. Okay, I got 54. You don't have to believe me. I got evidence for everything that I say. I had to hire somebody to come in to clean my apartment. They were all on my countertop. Mice dropping, mice urine, stuck to the windowsill, all in my clothes closet. They are all over, and I'm sick of it. What are y'all sitting up there on that podium doing? Because it don't affect y'all, you don't give a darn about us. I don't give a darn about where I live. It's private property. It's still in Lindenwold, the borough of Lindenwold. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of living like this. Do you understand what I'm saying? What are y'all sitting up there doing? Nothing but a name to get paid. That's what you're doing. Look at me. I'm still sick. Nobody give a damn. I'm tired of it. I got pictures to show. Huh? Me and my dog is living. We're living. That's right. Snake. And grasshoppers. People don't complain because the owner retaliates. He retaliated on me. And I fell on ice. And I filed a lawsuit against him, and I won. The next week, I got a rent increase of $100, okay? Because I won my settlement. The guy down the street from me said, I know it's the grace of God. I was at Lindenwold one night, and he was just saying about all the licenses out there, and he got a raise in his rent. Same apartment, same layout. He said, they only increased my rent $40. But why you increase mine $100? I've been out there for 48 years. I got $100 rent increase. But guess what? I called my lawyer. Don't pay it. Let him take you to court. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not paying. I'm going to pay what I'm paying now. You're going to raise my rent $100 and raise. Isn't why? Is it because of the color of my skin? Is it because I'm a woman and he's a man? Because I'm black and he's white? Is that the reason why? Or you just don't like me because I speak? I'm going to continue to speak until the day I die. Okay, you're trying to tear me down, but buddy, I'm not going nowhere. I can barely make it. I got a guy coming up, cleaning. I have to pay him $30 an hour to clean my place. If you want to know who he is, you can go talk to him. He worked right there in $70. His name is, his name is my boss from there. I don't know, it's a funny name. Zach. White guy right there in $70, he will tell you. He said, I would be here with you today, but I got to work. We got pictures, I got pictures right now. mice. I'm tired of it. Not only these people are afraid to speak because they retaliate on you. They retaliate. Where is code enforcement at? Where are they? Look at the grounds out there. Look at the grounds. Look, it's all over the place. We don't have no groundskeeper. We don't have no landscape. You know who calls us clean the ground? Arborwood. And they said they are not landscape. They are not groundskeepers. But they do the best that they can. Look behind the 64, 65, 66, and 67 buildings. Near the railroad track. You don't have to believe me. Go see it for yourself. If you don't want to go see it for yourself because you don't care, because it's not affecting you.
Exactly.
And if you fit, wear it. I've been out there on that location where I am ever since October 15, 1975. And had no problem with my rent. But then you want to raise my rent $100 over everybody else's? Oh no. Take me to court. That's what I want you to do. I'm not paying. I'm not paying. That's retaliation. I want to know what you're going to do about these mice out here. Go there and look at 6601, you'll see. Go talk to Mike, to Zach, Mom or whatever his name is, Family Dollar. He'll tell you. He's up there right now. And he said he wasn't been able to get a day when he had to work. Look at me. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it.
Anyone else in the public wishing to speak?
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Do something about it. I don't care if it is property.
Everybody coming up or I'm closing it?
There's a few more.
It don't make sense.
No, they cleaned up Arborwood and all the other ones.
Yeah, that's right. We living like crap. We living like crap. Mice all over my apartment.
Yeah,
I got pictures to prove it.
they don't care.
My fingers falling so bad I can't even wear my shoes. They don't care. But what are y'all up there doing?
Thank you.
I'm tired of it.
Hi, Sarah Bellman, 1201 Timber Creek Road. Give me a moment, that was emotional. And that was because I live in Village of Timber Creek, and while conditions in my personal home had never reached the level that this woman is describing, other residents in our complex have experienced maybe not rodents, but sewage backing up and filling their homes. We are beginning to also have issues with rodents because of the lack of adequate waste removal services. And I could go down the list, but all of it comes back to the lack of municipal infrastructure. The reason that management at these complexes has this attitude of defensiveness and retaliation is because that is what they experience at the borough level, and they pass it on down. They are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Women's History Month and International Women's Day. I love that we're paying tribute to these things, and I would also like to pay tribute to an ordinary woman who made extraordinary changes in the world. Some of you may be familiar with a Mount Laurel resident named Ethel Lawrence. In 1975, she and the NAACP managed to pass legislation in the New Jersey Superior Court that said, and this is important to get right, the doctrine requires that municipalities use their zoning powers in an affirmative manner to provide a realistic opportunity for the production of housing affordable to low and moderate incomes. There are subsequent versions of this bill that clearly outline municipal responsibilities to maintaining adequate infrastructure to support those low to moderate housing complexes. Lindenwold, decades ago, sold our rights to other municipalities. We got money, Lindenwold got money. Where did that money go? It didn't go into building the infrastructure to support these complexes, and that is why we have all of the issues that we have here today. Secondly, again, the infrastructure thing. When it comes to county roads and county property, there's an attitude of, if it says county, we've got nothing to do with it. But really, it's a shared responsibility. I want to talk about Laurel Road, between Shoes Landing and Blackwood Clementon Road. We have near daily accidents with both vehicles and pedestrians. We have so many school kids from 5 of those low to moderate income housing complexes in that section of Laurel Road that go to school 5. They have to cross that every day. Our crossing guards can attest to the fact that they put their lives on the line daily. But when we reach out for assistance, we get rerouted to county. This is what county says. Anything that changes the flow of traffic, i.e. new traffic lights, road painting for crosswalks, signage, etc., regardless of it being on a county road, must first be posted to and approved by Lindenwold's leaders before the county can act or assist in implementing anything new on the road. A local traffic survey is usually done, as we've seen performed by other municipalities and the police departments, because this relates to public safety. A local traffic study is usually done to see if any changes to the road are needed, and if deemed so, the county public works is notified by the municipality, and together, the two entities make the needed adjustments. So I hope that clarifies things, and I hope that someone here begins to feel personally responsible for all of the residents of Lindenwold, not just the ones that live in single-family homes.
Anyone else in the public wishing to speak?
Again,
Please.
Trevor Shaw, 805 North Cross Ave, street, road, they all get there. Lindenwold. So basically, I got to cover 2 topics that have been provided to us, but I want to start by raising an issue regarding this poor microphone. I don't know what's going on, but I hope someone can either examine it or replace it or something, because the feedback on her microphone is crazy, not only for the people listening out here, but particularly for the camera that's picking up the meeting. So, what can be done, but it seems to be yours specifically. I'm sorry for that. No, you don't have anything to do with it specifically, but all right. So beyond that, we want to start by acknowledging and recognizing the many good things and successes that you guys do. I think at times you think that all we do is come here to complain, and while we may bring, I see you're shaking your head, Cheryl. Well, part of that is this is the place for people to do that. And while we do bring a few issues to the floor, it pales in comparison to all of the good stuff that is going on in the borough, but in reality, it's not our responsibility to communicate all of the good stuff you guys are doing. It's your responsibility, and as the president of council and as a member of the media team, we're certainly encouraged and excited by the fact that you guys are re-examining your media team and its responsibilities, because as we've noted many times in the past and have asked for many times in the past, towns all around us do all kinds of things with their media departments. I mean, they have more robust websites, they offer social media presences, they have email blasts, monthly, weekly newsletters, live streamed meetings, on and on and on. So if you guys were being more assertive and proactive in communicating some of the things that you guys are doing, maybe residents would feel a little better about the community in which they're living. I'll give you 2 perfect examples that came up tonight. One is the dog park. There has been nothing official on behalf of the borough talking about the dog park coming, outside of the minutes and the resolutions and so forth. The fact that the dog park's coming, the fact that you use federal money to build it, the fact that our own public works workers are taking pride in building it for us. There's been no communication of that as of yet. And we understand that all the signage isn't up, and there's probably a legal issue in inviting people to take part in that dog park yet. But there's no reason why we can't communicate that that stuff is on the horizon. The dog park is coming. This is what it's going to look like. And I know, Linda, I'm not faulting you. You have announced at the last couple of council meetings, you gave us the parameters, the size of the fencing, and so forth and so on. You gave us some of that. But this meeting with these 10 or 12 people here is a fraction of the 20,000 people who live in our community. And there are umpteen tools at your disposal to communicate what you're doing to the 20,000 people who live here. Another example, Ms. Patton, you named 3 or 4 activities tonight that are upcoming at the library. If I was a resident in Lindenwold, which I am and have been for 25 years, where would I go to find that information?
You're coming. You're going here. They'll be on the website. No, I'm sorry. It's hard not to. Sometimes it's just hard not to. Sorry. I'll wait my turn.
And how come that information isn't being communicated in multiple forms? You roll your eyes, but the community
when a person
doesn't
looks up,
know
you're
what's
thinking.
going on.
When a person looks up, you're thinking, I'm not rolling my eyes.
Okay.
Okay, so please don't do that. I'm not rolling
Okay,
my
but
eyes.
it doesn't come off that way. When people roll their eyes, it connotes apathy, indifference.
Well, I'm not rolling my eyes.
Okay, I get it. And to be honest with you, Cheryl, I respect you and
I
appreciate
respect
the
you
fact
too.
that
I do.
you have tried really hard over the course of my time coming to these meetings to address our concerns and answer our questions. And we certainly appreciate that.
Thank
You probably more than some on the governing body have been more engaging and providing the information that residents seek. And we certainly appreciate that. But when you take Lindenwold in a vacuum and you put it up against other communities, Evesham, Pensauken, Somerdale, Gibbsboro, I can go on and on. I mean, Gibbsboro is a town of 4,500 people. They put out 5 newsletters a year. We fight to get 1.
Amen.
2? What year did you guys create 2? Because I can go back to 2016 and have yet to see 2.
Okay, well, I'll wait till you get done, and then I'll...
We see an annual newsletter.
Don't get my...
As I say, Gibbsboro, 4,500 people, they somehow put out 5. Pensauken puts out weekly newsletters. Weekly. We get an annual. If you go on the website right now, summer 2022 was our last newsletter. I understand it's not all about the newsletter, but at the end of the day, it is about communication. No one's going to know the good things you guys are doing unless you communicate it. There are all kinds of tools to make that happen.
Amen.
Facebook pages, Nextdoor, Instagram, email blasts. I don't know how many people have signed up for the email list, but we never get emails. It says, I would like to know about news and events. We never get them.
Mr. Shore, I'm about to cut you off, so please move on.
You sent them when the census was on, so we know the technology works. But after the census, they dried up like a grape stem. Second issue, it has become abundantly clear to the community and to everyone up there in our governing body that you have no intention of hosting any real events at our senior community center or on the first floor of the library, which again is what could be a meeting space that 90% of the year, when we're not housing gifts for children, could be used for events. That being said, why are we not making a move as a community to sell the community center and the property next to it, which we understand the borough also owns, as 2 highly viable properties on a very busy highway in Lindenwold, and use that money to repurpose it and reinvest it in an actual viable property? Because right now taxpayers are paying to upkeep and maintain buildings that are only good for private employee parties and events. Thank you.
Trevor, you know they don't care.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak?
Yeah, all right.
I'm going to again state my name for the record. It's Sarah Bellner, 1201 Timber Creek Road. I just noticed it has to be in minutes for some reason my name is being left out of the public record. And I'm only being referred to as the rest of that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this also. I've been without a refrigerator ever since Sunday.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, close the meeting to the
Yes,
public.
I wanna get
Back
back.
up to council. Anyone from council?
So,
want to answer?
yeah, I do want to address a couple things, Rich. Mrs. Porter,
Yes,
I've always listened to you. I've spent almost 2.5 hours last Good Friday at your, it's my turn now, Ms. Porter, excuse me. Just let me say what I have to say, okay? And walking the entire property with you, speaking to other residents out there at the property. You have my phone number. Miss Bernice calls dawn and I on a regular basis to tell us things that she wants to report in that community. We send Wayne and I'm out there. Wayne is sending Mr. Fox emails all the time about things that we see. You have my phone number. And you know that I care about you. I made you chicken noodle soup, Miss Porter. So don't sit there and say that nobody cares about you and this, that, and the other. I haven't heard, wait a minute, I haven't heard from you in months.
why am I living like this?
Miss Porter, you is close to the public. This is my turn to speak. I haven't heard from you. You have my phone number. I put it in your phone because you dialed it wrong the last time when I gave it to
I've
you.
been sick.
Okay, so please don't stand up here. It's hurtful for you to say that no one cares about you, no one listens to you. When I was out here with my daughter walking your dog for almost 3 hours on Good Friday, stopping at every neighbor that you wanted me to stop at, taking notes. I rode through with my car, so please don't do that. You have my phone
I'm
number.
not there now. I look this way.
You have my phone number. I will report this to Wayne, everything that you said, but please don't do that, because that's not fair. It really is. And the mayor has been out there as well, walking the property, looking for things too. I know you're upset. I know you're tired of living that way. We're trying to do things, but please don't say that no one's helping you, because I have tried to help you, Ms. Porter.
No, I have too.
Well, okay, so why are you saying nobody's trying to help you? We're all trying to help
But
you.
why am I living like this?
Ms. Porter, again, we're trying to help you. If there's something going on, please report it. You have my number. Please wait till after the meeting. I will discuss with you. Okay, Ms. Porter, listen, after the meeting, please wait. I will write down everything that you said, and I'll send Wayne an email tonight when I get home about your issues. Trevor. And Trevor, I was not rolling my eyes at you. I have taken investigative courses, and when people are recalling, they have a tendency to look up. So that's what I was doing.
My apologies.
Recalling, not rolling my eyes, okay?
Fair enough.
Thank you for your communication. Can we do a better job at communicating? We certainly can. I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that we do some good things, and we absolutely try. No one's perfect. I like the fact that when people come to a meeting, they just don't dump on you. They come with ideas and resolutions, and so I appreciate that from you tonight. The media meeting we are holding, I've been spending the last probably month looking at other people's websites. Some are good, some we blow theirs away, some are better than ours, notably. But we are working on doing some revisions there. COVID kind of slowed the process down because there weren't really a whole lot of activities going on in the town anyway, so we weren't sending the newsletter out. We need to ramp back up again. That's what we're going to talk about, getting the information out. And also we're looking at trying to do a refresh on the webpage itself. So, and I would also like to see more business owners engaged on the website as well. So we're trying to do something there too. So again, I appreciate what you said, duly noted. I appreciate not just coming in here and dumping on us, but coming with suggestions as well. So I appreciate that. And the dog park, I think we're just kind of waiting for everything to get finalized. That will be in our newsletter and other things. We talked about a long time ago trying to record the meetings online so people could see it. We ran into a snafu with the school. They needed an instructor to come out and film when they're out here on site. They have the cameras, they have the studio. The instructor that teaches that particular course up until about, I guess, 6 or 7 months ago, is not available to come out with the students. They have to have transportation. They have to return the equipment back to the school. So it's a little bit complicated. to bring them out. We thought it would be a great activity for them to film and see the process here, and that met a brick wall. So that is why we don't have the meetings on our website at this time. But it was something that we did talk about, something that we wanted to do with the kids, and it just didn't come to fruition. So I think that's all that I have.
Anyone else want to ask any other questions?
Anything on the community center or first floor of the library in terms of a public meeting space?
It's not for me, I don't have the library.
Guess I'm not getting an apology either.
I mean, neither one are viable buildings, but yet we're paying for both of them.
We'll close to the public. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mr. Shaw, as far as the library is concerned, as far as events concerned, I have tried in the past, and that was due to COVID and some concerns about reopening last year. I do admit I hadn't revisited this year. So I will take responsibility for seeing what is the, what's the status of us using it for something.
Certainly appreciate that. I mean, you know, like a 13-year-old birthday party, where does that get held in town? What public space do we have? We have other parties that are held.
Sure, it's closed to the public. Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments.
That's fine. That's as reflective of you guys as it is of us.
Can we get a motion for adjournment? School 5.
Any motion?
So
And a second. All in favor? Motion carries.
So I guess he is an ass.